soup. Ooh, that's the best they're gonna get from me today. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's all they getting from me today. Um, I'm trying to have a good day. Trying to have a good day. Um, I'm at that part of my. I'm in that part of my mental health where the impending doom, feature has been unlocked in my brain, and so I'm trying not to like freaking lose it. Um, welcome in on YouTube, welcome in on Instagram, welcome in on Facebook, welcome in on TikTok. Let me give it just another moment, let some people get in here. Let me go ahead and share it. Yeah, today's not been an easy day. Today's not been an easy day, but I'm alive still. So, that's something, you know, that's something. I'm alive and I'm here. And, you know, I'm out here living and such. Um, Baby, I love you. Keep me where I'm going. It's too slow. I like that mix that they have of the Michael Jackson song and the Aaliyah song, where it's just like, I want you to feel that beat, and we can rock the boogie, share that beat of love. I want to rock the boat all night, work it in the middle, sunlight. Sorry about my singing, y'all. I'm not, the best singer, but I do enjoy humming and playing around. Share this on Twitter, girl. Share it on Twitter. Here we go. I did that. Welcome in. How y'all doing? I'm here. This is one of them days where I was just like, oh, I don't want to do it today, but I'm going to do it today because consistency, because we're on the road to 100. And guess what? We are on episode 70, y'all. Episode 70. Let me tell y'all something funny before we get into the book. So I wore this dress before. I got this dress from Goodwill, and I like it. It's cute, little bohemian, hippy dippy little dress or whatever. I got this dress at Goodwill, and I wore it one time whenever I went to the Science Center, and the whole day, all of the palm-colored women kept coming up to me, and they were like, "Oh my God, I love your dress. Oh my God, I love your dress. Oh my!" And then I had on those Birkenstock sandals too. So I was giving. I had me some little, turquoise earrings on, some different turquoise earrings and everything. Oh, I was giving them. I was giving them exactly what they needed. And they was just like, "Oh my goodness, I just like." I had one lady come up to me and she was like, "I just wanted to tell you my mom loves your dress. You were walking so fast that I had to run over here to find you to tell you." And I'm just like, I'm never wearing this dress in public again, because I don't want to do anything that's going to attract that kind of attention. But I like it. It's cute. It does the thing, you know. It contains all the stuff and the things. Welcome to Reading with Miss Taylor Said. My name is Taylor. I'm also known as Miss Taylor Said, and I started the show on November 30th of 2020 in an effort to complete some goals. One of those goals being that I want to actually complete the books that I own. I have acquired a lot of books over the years, and I have not read most of them. My name is Miss Taylor Said, and sorry, I got thrown off by my light and the question at the same time. Anyway, I am Miss Taylor Said, also known as Taylor. And I started this show on November 30th, 2020 in an effort to complete some goals that I have. One of those goals being actually finishing the books that I own. I've collected a lot of books over the years, and I actually would like to read the books that I have either started and didn't finish or have not started at all. So that is the first reason why we're here. The second reason why we're here is because I would like to be a public speaker. I am a public speaker. I have not booked any speaking engagements yet, but I perform poetry, and I want to get more into the public speaking space. And 2020 afforded me an opportunity to create a platform for myself where I could do that because everyone's at home. So might as well talk to everybody that's at home, right? And I want to get more comfortable with public speaking, especially because that's what I want to do with my career. And the third reason why I started the show is because I need to get more comfortable reading in front of an audience. The things that I want to do with my career in public speaking are going to include me reading speeches, cue cards, teleprompters, scripts, things of that nature. And so I need to go ahead and get comfortable with reading things the way they're supposed to be read in front of people out loud. You know what I mean? So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for watching. If you are not already following, subscribe to, liked my pages, I am on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. If you just look up Miss Taylor Said, MissTaylorSaid. And let's go ahead and get into the book. If you missed the previous episodes, you can check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And we're currently reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. We're reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, and we finished chapter 7 yesterday. We're going to go ahead and go into chapter 8. And chapter 8 is called How to Avoid Getting Hooked by an Emotionally Immature Parent. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. It's hard to see our parent as fallible human beings. As children, we believe our parents can do anything. Although adolescence and independence of adulthood can weaken our view of our parents as all-powerful, they don't eradicate it. Therefore, even if they aren't loving, we wishfully think they could be if they wanted to. Certain cultural tenets also keep us from seeing our parents clearly. Most of us are instilled with beliefs such as all parents love their children, a parent is the one person you can trust, a parent will always be there for you, you can tell your parents anything, your parents will love you no matter what, you can always go back home, your parents will only want what's best for you, your parents know more than you do, whatever your parents do, they're doing it for your own good. Oh, that was the last one. Your parents are doing it for your own good. But if your parents were emotionally immature, many of these statements may not be true. In this chapter, I'll help you look beneath the surface of your childhood's hopes and cultural assumptions in order to see your parents more accurately. You'll be learning a new way to protect your emotions and individuality by approaching your parents in a more neutral way, a way they can tolerate emotionally. But first, let's look at a common fantasy that prevents people from relating to their parents in a realistic way. All right. The next section is called The Fantasy That a Parent Will Change. Ooh, child. I am feeling pretty sensitive today. So if I cry, y'all excuse me. I am just particularly sensitive because of the stuff going on in my personal life. All right. Here we go. A common fantasy among children of emotionally immature parents is that their parents will have a change of heart and finally love them by showing concern. Unfortunately, self-preoccupied parents refuse all invitations to fulfill their part in their child's healing story. Focused on their own healing fantasy, they expect their children to make up for their childhood hurts. Seeking their parents' healing love, many people hop around after their parents like hungry birds, trying to elicit a crumb of positive response from them. In adulthood, these children often learn a variety of healthy communication skills and hope that these skills will improve their relationship with their parents. They think they might finally have the techniques necessary to draw their parents into a rewarding interaction. Annie's story. Annie's mother, Betty, a woman with strong religious convictions, had always been emotionally insensitive, and her childhood treatment of Annie sometimes verged on physical and emotional abuse. Although Annie had lived with this treatment for a long time, she reached the breaking point when Betty made a derogatory comment about Annie in front of her colleagues at Annie's award ceremony at work. Annie's feelings were deeply hurt, and she was embarrassed in front of her friends. The insult was so blatant that Annie was sure her mother couldn't deny the wildly inappropriate nature and timing of her comment, as she usually did. But Betty wouldn't take responsibility, coldly denying what she'd done was problematic. Over the next few days, Annie kept trying to get Betty to understand how hurt she was. She finally wrote a letter to her mother, telling her how she felt and asking her to sit down with her and talk it out. Annie put a great deal of thought into the letter, which was extremely emotionally articulate, in hopes that Betty would see and regret that her behavior had been so chronically insensitive over the years. But Betty didn't offer any response. Emptiness hung between them, along with Annie's impression that her mother couldn't care less. I wanted to say to her, "I am your daughter," Annie cried. "Murderers kill people, and their moms still love them. We're family. She's my mom. How can she just let that go?" Ooh, child. Again, if I start crying, y'all, it's because I'm feeling particularly sensitive today. So, just we gonna push through, okay? This wasn't the first time that Annie had tried to reach Betty emotionally. After starting therapy, Annie tried to express herself and work things out in a healthy way whenever her parents were mean or disrespectful toward her. Although Betty routinely dismissed Annie's outreach, she'd always remain in contact so she could see Annie's 3 little boys. But this time it was different. "What I can't get over that there's nothing coming back, not even anger," Annie said. "All I want is some level of response that shows that this matters, even if I've just made her angry." In addition to being wounded, Annie was confused. Although Betty refused to respond, Annie knew her mother was sociable and capable of showing kindness and generosity toward other people. Annie understood that those relationships were more superficial, but this knowledge didn't help her emotionally. "You'd think my mom would have some natural desire to make things better between us, some kind of acknowledgement, or maybe even something through Dad." Annie's sorrow and incomprehension showed on her face. Annie was grieving over not having an emotionally supportive mother, and working through that would take time. But she was also aware that her appeals were making things worse. It was important to address that too. Annie was confused. She was doing everything she knew to repair the relationship, communicating clearly, making respectful requests, and being emotionally honest. She wondered how they could work anything out without talking about it. "Annie," I said, "you're doing all the right things in trying to make a connection with your mom. You're looking for emotional intimacy with her, which makes perfect sense, but I don't think she can tolerate it. While you think you're trying to relate, your mom probably sees it as a major threat to her equilibrium. After all, she's been living like this for years. Your openness and honesty are more than she can handle. Think of it as though your mom has a snake phobia. You keep plopping a big, fat, writhing snake right in her lap. She can't stand it, no matter how meaningful it might be to you." Emotional closeness demanded a level of emotional maturity her mother simply didn't have. But her mother's silence made Annie feel like an emotional hostage. She couldn't rest until her mother was happy with her. I told Annie that the only way Betty was going to come around was if Annie stopped talking about her misbehavior and how hurtful it was. Annie needed to find a way forward that didn't involve her mother's participation. That's the only thing that works with parents who are terrified of emotional intimacy. I explained that she could have a relationship with her mother, but it wouldn't be the kind of relationship she yearned for. Her best option was to manage their interactions deliberately rather than seeking emotional intimacy. Annie was open to my suggestions but still felt confused. She could remember Betty's anguished visits with her own mother, who was also rejecting. When Annie was a child, Betty felt so unloved by her mother that after these visits, she was left sobbing with no one to comfort her but Annie. How could she now be doing this to her own daughter? Annie asked. You'd think she'd hate to do that to her own child after she suffered so much. It was a good point, but Betty was just passing her trauma down the line, as people tend to do when they repress their childhood pain. Annie was so intent on winning her mother's approval that she stopped evaluating the relationship. She'd never asked herself whether Betty was the type of person she enjoyed being around. Sorry, y'all. I am processing that because that hit incredibly close to home. Like that, that hit close to home on a lot of ways. I ain't gonna hold you. I've had to change the relationship with my mom off that detailed beautifully as to how things are. Where it's just like, if someone has that much emotional damage from their own childhood and the way that their mother treated them, it is not fair of me to demand that she change or be different or love me when no one's ever shown her how to love a child, because she didn't see that growing up. So, hello, welcome in. We are reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. If you're just joining us, it's how can I expect someone? It's like expecting someone who was never taught how to read to be able to read with you. Like, how can I expect that? How can I expect them to know how to read if they were never taught? If no one ever took the time to show them? And it's not to say that my grandmother didn't love my mother, but she was a young mom and she dealt with a lot of terrible relationships and a lot of abuse. My mother dealt with a lot of abuse. I've dealt with a lot of abuse. And it's just like, who's going to show the change? That's what I'm trying to do now, is be the change. And it comes a point where if you chase after your parents' love when you chase after the relationship you believe that you should have with your parent, and it's the relationship you deserve to have with your parent because you didn't ask to be here. They made that choice for you. So it's the relationship you deserve to have with your parent, but we're not always afforded the things that we deserve. So when you try to go after that kind of relationship with your parent when they're emotionally immature, you find yourself being in the position of the parent and taking the things that you've learned through therapy, through books, through documentaries and just information, and through your relationships as an adult, you find yourself teaching them how to love you because they didn't offer that love. They didn't offer the love that you needed to you growing up in your childhood. And a lot of the time it's just because they didn't fucking know how. They didn't know how. And there has to be a bit of compassion there for them for not being able to do that for you, and understanding why they weren't able to do that for you. It's hard. It's very, very hard to cope with that. No pun intended. Um, it's very hard to cope with that because you're left feeling lonely and empty because there is a supply of love that is owed to you that is not there. It's owed to you because that's your parent. Your parents is truly owed to you. They owe you, you owe them nothing, and they owe you everything because you did not, they made the choice of aliving you. No, I mean, given the circumstances, but like, you know, we're not going to go into the details of SA and reproductive rights and all that stuff, but ultimately the actions with their body led to you being here, and you had no choice in the matter. And a lot of times people have kids, especially people back in the day. A lot of people have kids because they have that emotional emptiness that they experience from their own childhood, and then they have kids thinking that it will make up for what they lost, and they never take the time to actually mourn the loss of a healthy parent-child relationship in their upbringing. So then they just bring a person into it. They give birth to a person, they have a child, and they end up like, instead of dealing with that baggage, dealing with that pain, actually mourning the loss of the relationship that they deserve to have, they end up just plopping all of that baggage onto the child that they just had. And honestly, y'all, like, when I was 25, 26, 27, I was wanting, a lot of energy just passed through my chest, but I wanted to have a child for that very reason. I was in an abusive relationship. My relationship with my parents, like, it existed, but it was rough. I didn't really have any friends, and I felt lonely and I felt sad. And I wanted to have a child. Like, I would lay awake at night, like, just crying, like sobbing about the fact that I don't have a child yet. And oh my God, I want to be a mom so bad. Oh my God, I want to be a mother so much. Like, I know I'm a good caretaker because I took care of my younger siblings, and I spent a lot of time working, like, at the nursery at church and working with kids and stuff like that growing up. And while I haven't really worked with kids in my adult life, oh my God, I love babies. I love kids. I love babies. Kids love me. The idea of creating a baby from just all of my love and bringing them into this world and loving them with all of my heart. Oh my God, I want that so badly. But I don't want to bring someone in this world when I have all this hurt that I'm still dealing with, when I haven't mourned the loss of my own, I haven't mourned the loss or the absence of the kind of relationship with my parents that I actually needed. And it's painful because, baby, I'm turning 30 this year and I don't have no kids. Like, dog, like, people, you know, people with uteruses, you know, your body starts telling you, yo, I need you to have a baby. Like, it tells you, listen, we need to get pregnant now. And I just have to sit there and be like, not until I have a spouse, please, not until I have a spouse. And I know that me and my spouse have made a conscious decision to have a child because we've gone through therapy and we've gone through all the things. We've done all the things that we're supposed to do to prepare to be parents that will consciously parent our children and bring them up with love and without abuse. Like, I'm trying really hard. I need to work through this trauma. If you know, and I calm my mind down with understanding why I'm making the decisions I'm making, but it's painful emotionally, you know. Trying to fill a void with everything except the healing needed. Sometimes not knowing healing is needed. Exactly. Like, there's so much to discover. And this is why I always recommend people try therapy, because, you know, it's not just about big traumatic event happened in my life. Now I need to go to therapy because like emotionally my leg is broken and I need someone to fix it. No, like you got to go to the gynecologist to get a pap smear every year, right? You got to go to the doctor to get checkups, right? You got to go to the dentist to get teeth cleanings, right? At least, you know, if we had universal health care, that's what we all be doing. Um, um, However, it's like with your mental state, it's like therapy is helpful, and therapy is helpful because, you know, it's checking in, it's discovering and unearthing the things that you may not even realize were trauma that have affected you throughout your life, and have, or maybe you didn't realize, you didn't maybe you didn't realize it was trauma, or it was emotionally harmful, or it was a strain on you because you just had to adjust and adapt and survive and continue moving forward. But it's it's important to do that. I'm going to keep reading because I'm continuing on this tangent and whatever. All right. So the next section is called Forging a New Relationship. The rest of this chapter explores how to handle an emotionally immature parent as well as other people by changing your expectations and replacing reactivity with observation. 3 key approaches will help you free yourself from getting caught up in your parent's emotional immaturity: detached observation, maturity awareness, and stepping away from your old role self. So the first section is called a detached observation. The first step in gaining your emotional freedom is to assess whether either of your parents was emotionally immature. Given that you're still reading this book, you've probably decided that at least one of your parents fits that description. Such a parent can probably never fulfill your childhood vision of a loving parent. The only achievable goal is to act from your own true nature, not the role self that pleases your parent. You can't win your parent over, but you can save yourself. From my own understanding, sitting still with God, therapy, self is needed all throughout life. Amen. Yes, yes. God, therapy, and self, just all together to give you what you need. Listen, I was crying at my altar today. Let me tell you, I was crying at the altar today. It's all necessary. My spirituality, my connection with my ancestors, my connection with God, my connection with myself, and then a little dash of therapy, you know? Um, anyway, sorry. Given that you're still reading this book, you've probably decided that at least one of your parents fits that description. Such a parent can probably never fulfill your childhood vision of a loving parent. The only achievable goal is to act from your own true nature, not the role self that pleases your parent. You can't win your parent over, but you can save yourself. For my own understanding of how this works, I'm indebted to family therapist Murray Bowen for his family systems theory, 1978, which describes how emotionally immature parents promote emotional enmeshment over individual identity. As a reminder, enmeshment occurs when parents don't respect boundaries, project their unresolved issues onto their children, and get too involved in their children's business. In families dominated by emotionally immature people, enmeshment and playing roles are valued in order to keep the family close. Of course, genuine communication and emotional intimacy are absent in such families. No one's true self is ever acknowledged. Further, in an enmeshed family, if you have a problem with someone, you talk about that person to other people instead of going to that person directly. Bowen called this triangling and characterized enmeshment as the glue that keeps such families together. When I tell you my family has no sense of conflict resolution, dog, don't nobody sit and talk to each other and be like, hey, I have this issue with you. This is, or when you did this, it made me feel like this. Okay, I understand. Like, there's no conversation that happens. What happens? I get on the phone with somebody and they start telling me about somebody else in the family that did this, and that. They start talking about how such and such is raising their kids. They talk about how this person's handling this situation. They talk about how this person is nasty, how this person is rude, how this person is doing this, how this person's doing that. Okay. Are you talking to them though? They ain't gonna listen no way. So there's no point in me talking to them. Have you tried to talk to them? No, I ain't about to talk to them because they always get crazy and they always act up and da 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 da. Hello, welcome in. We are reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. Yeah. In the enmeshed family, it's just a bunch of people talking about each other instead of talking to each other. Instead of having conversations with each other, talking about each other, coming together at the family events. There's tension in the room because everybody done talk shit about everybody else. They acting fake with each other and interacting because we family, like we family. And then next thing you know, somebody says something, someone makes a sly little comment, somebody does a little action, it triggers something. And next thing you know, folks is arguing or even going so far as physically fighting. When people say, oh, I don't really be liking to go around my family because it's a lot of drama. Thank you, friend. When people say, oh, I don't like going around my family because it's a lot of drama, that be the reason, because all y'all do is talk shit about each other and fight. And don't nobody sit and talk to each other and be like, this is the problem. Let's talk about it. Welcome in. We're reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. They don't talk about it. They just argue with each other. And it's so unfortunate to watch. It's so unfortunate to be a part of. And true, but do you want to make some extra money? Baby, if you want to send me some money, my GoFundMe is in the link, is in the link in my bio. And also I have a Cash App if you'd like to send me some money. I'm not interested in doing any scammery. So I'm not interested in any network marketing. I'm not interested in any trading. I'm not interested in any of that. If you'd like to donate to me and support my show, because I'm working. This is what I'm doing to try to make money. So I appreciate the offer. However, no, thank you. Anyway, that's how our families behave. That's what they do. And I find that so often, as I can't speak for, and I'm sure it happens in other regions of the country, but there's a concentrated number of Black people in the South. And being in the South is hard because of the fact that it's just like we have this preconceived notion that you got to be nice to everybody. Like you can't, like it's rude to walk around without a smile on your face. It's rude to walk into places without greeting folks. It's rude to just not give everybody a little piece of your energy because let's keep it a buck. It's because of slavery. Because it's like, oh, you need to say, hey, like no matter how good or bad your day is, you need to speak to me. If you walk past me, if you're in my presence, I am owed the sound of your voice. I am owed your acknowledgement because I live in this city, or I live in this state, or I live in this region of the country, and you live in this region of the country. And so you owe me common courtesy. You owe me a smile. You owe me, hey, how you doing? You owe me one of these. You owe me a what's up? Like you owe me that. And while that creates a connectivity between Black people in the South, and while it can be helpful and, positive for our community, it is also a source of, toxicity. Like people take advantage of that. And they use phrases like, well, you need to do this because we family and your family come first. And you need to put this and you need to do this because it's your family. And it's like, okay, but if If y'all were other people, like, because the question that I ask myself, and I ask myself and other people ask themselves, is if I wasn't related to this person, would they be the type of person I'd be around? And the big answer is no, for a lot of family members that I have. The big answer is no. I would not deal with you if I wasn't related to you. You are not the type of person I would want to be around. You are not the type of person I would ever engage with. Ever. Based on who I am today, like, you're not the type of person I would engage with. But because of this, my friends and I were talking about, like, I'm let me read the rest of this paragraph, and then I'm gonna go back into what I was saying. Bowen also explored how this situation might be remedied. Bowen called this triangling and characterized enmeshment as the glue that keeps such families together. Bowen also explored how this situation might be remedied, at least for some family members. He found that observation and emotional detachment can give individuals a place to stand outside of their family system. When people keep themselves poised in neutral observation, they can't be hurt or emotionally ensnared by other people's behavior. So let's go from what we were talking about with families and kind of talk about, like I just kind of want to talk about Southern culture just a little bit, because it's different than other places. So I'm hearing, I've never lived anywhere else outside. I've never lived anywhere outside of the South. I have spent time, like, summers in New York, and just even that was a different experience because people looked at me crazy when I was smiling at them walking down the street. It was just like, what's wrong with you? You know? But I think about, like, even dating, my friends and I were talking about how, like, we struggle with dating Southern men because of the fact that Southern Black men specifically, there go my loud air conditioner. I'll be right back. We almost done anyway, y'all. We have an issue with dating Southern Black men specifically because of the way that we were brought up in our homes. We were brought up in our homes with enmeshment, right? We were brought up in our homes with enmeshment, with this sense of entitlement to other people's time. Like, let's look at how she explained enmeshment again. As a reminder, enmeshment occurs when parents don't respect boundaries, project their unresolved issues onto their children, and get too involved in their children's business. So it makes me think about, like, dating and just friendships, here in the South. Like, anytime I've dated a dude, I've only had, like, one dude officially ask me to be his girlfriend in a way that was specifically about asking me to be his girlfriend. Other than that, there's just this assumption that if we spent enough time together, if we've been around each other, we be like, first of all, there's this entitlement that, like, we gonna be on the phone all day, every day, like, because we're not going out on dates. There's no dates. You go out for drinks and then you be on the phone, and they text you a lot and you be on the phone all day, right? Or you be on the phone for long periods of time, right? Because lots of talking. Then after spending time together, whether y'all have hung out in each other's homes, y'all have gone out a few times, but if y'all texting every day and y'all talking every day, eventually it's just like, the assumption is that y'all go together. Because nobody wants to date you, especially with the intention to, I'm generalizing, but nobody wants to date you in the sense of, like, I'm courting you to make you my girlfriend or make you my partner. And then with the intention of, like, let's see how this girlfriend, boyfriend, thing goes. Let's see how the dating and courting stage goes. And then we can evaluate if we want to take the relationship further and be, like, and be on the path towards a long-term future. No, you got people that be stuck in the talking boyfriend girlfriend stage for years, because here in the South, when you get with somebody, you just go together. Y'all just be together in life. There's no intention. There's no purpose. There's no, Like I'm being thoughtful of why I'm spending time with this person. I'm being thoughtful of the time I am taking away from this person, from them being by themselves, because everybody needs time by themselves. I'm taking away from this person's ability to be by themselves, or taking away from this person's ability to be with their friends. I'm taking away from this person's ability to be away from their professional desires or just their hobbies. Whatever it is, you're taking away time from that. What is the intention? Are you even thinking intentionally when you're doing that? No, you just go together. And when you go together, there's a sense of entitlement there. There's a sense of like, well, I mean, we go together. And to the point where there are a lot of people that have experienced not having a title on their relationship because y'all just coexisting together in life. That creates codependency, that creates enmeshment, where it's just two people existing together and not really doing anything with purpose. And that happens in our families too, where it's just like this, like we just together. Why do you want me to stay in the state of North Carolina? Why do you want me to move back home? Why? So you can come to my space and just be there? What do you want from me? What do you want to build with me? What do you want to do with me? And it's not that everybody has to have some sort of productive function, but it's like, even in our most unproductive times, how are we pouring into each other? Because if we're not pouring into each other, why are we here? If you are not exhibiting the values and the integrity and the love and the thoughtfulness and the compassion and the consideration and the desire to continue to be your best self, to the desire to continue to strive higher, the desire to connect spiritually, like if you're not exhibiting any of that, why are we here? Why are we in the same space? Why am I not able to have my alone time? Why? Why am I picking up the phone? Why am I answering the text? Why am I engaging with you? Because you feel entitled to my time because we're related, we've been friends for so many years, or we go together. And a person like me, who don't want to cause too much of a fuss, who was literally raised to not cause a fuss, who was literally raised to keep the peace, somebody like me, I'm not about to stand up for myself and be like, I mean, not before, I'm working on that now, but I'm not about to stand up for myself and be like, yo, why are we here? What are you doing? What's going on? Why are we doing this? Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. Because, I mean, and again, this is something I'm working on, but it's like, I'm not going to do that, because then you have to deal with the fallout of their hurt feelings. And a lot of times when people are enmeshed with you, they are not processing things with an emotionally mature mind. They're processing things they process things with offense. So they're taking it personally that you have feelings about their actions. They're taking it personally that there are consequences for their actions. They're taking it personally that you're just like, I don't want to exist like that anymore. I don't want to engage with people like that anymore. I don't want to participate in this kind of relationship anymore. And I don't know how it is in other regions of the country. I don't know how it is in other parts of the world. However, I feel like I just have this really strong feeling that Southern culture is very harmful to relationships and the boundaries that people need to set in relationships. There's a benefit to Southern culture because there's a lot of community. There's a lot of togetherness. There's a lot of helping one another. However, the other side, the ugly side of Southern culture is abuse, is enmeshment, is entitlement, is codependency, is this, because of the fact that, especially for Black Southern Americans, it's like, because of the fact that we've had to depend on each other so heavily to survive. I mean, even if you think about like the history of it, like the people whose families were in the South and have stayed in the South and have never moved up north, like there is a different way they deal with each other versus the family members that may have gone up north versus the families that may have migrated up north. Like people up north are different. People up north are much more individualistic. They have a different urgency. I've observed they have a different sense of urgency to go get it because of the fact that a lot of times that branch of the family is the first branch to leave the South. But down here in the South, it's just like this murky, it's like swampy, where it's just like we all here, we been here, we ain't going nowhere, we ain't never left our hometown, we ain't never left our state. The biggest vacation we have every year is Myrtle Beach. Like it's so slow moving, and there's so much comfortability in not changing. There's so much comfortability in, there's so much resistance, I'll say. There's so much resistance to progress because it's just like, well, if I change that, then everything my mama said was wrong. Everything my grandma said was wrong. Everything my great grandma said was wrong. If I change that, if I do something different, if I go against what we were raised to do, all the things that we use to survive, to get us for our bloodline to survive, because we were enslaved, everything that was passed down was wrong. And how you gonna tell me that what my enslaved ancestors did to survive and to make it and so that I can be here, how you gonna tell me what they did was wrong? And we take it personally because it hurts. It hurts to know that the ways of old are no longer relevant or helpful. They are no longer helping us survive. That's why there's a resistance to changing food. They're changing food habits. There's a resistance to changes in religious practices. There's a resistance. There's a resistance to new information because it feels like betrayal to where we come from. And because of the fact, oh God, I'm feeling so sensitive today, y'all. I'm probably going to sob after I get off of here, but because of the fact that, hold on, I lost my thought. Just because of the fact that our families had to use these things to survive and make it so that we are here. It's like I think there's this fear of betraying who paved the way for us. And we can be thankful to them. But one thing I've learned in working with my ancestors in my spiritual work, and one thing a lot of us are learning, is that they did all of that. They suffered a lot. They endured a lot. But I promise you, if they could have slept, if they could have relaxed, if they could have been, oh my God, you don't know how many of your ancestors were actually LGBT. You don't know how many of your ancestors were actually non-binary. You don't know how many of your ancestors were actually gay or trans. You have no idea how many of them were actually those things. And they didn't even get to do that. They didn't get to live that. They didn't get to express that because it was inappropriate and wrong, and it could have gotten them killed. It would have gotten them killed. And that's just one aspect of life that they did not get to explore. How many of our ancestors were actually brilliant minds, were scientists, and the thing is, your validity as a Black person is not based on how much you can achieve and how many things you can do. However, our ancestors were robbed of so many opportunities to be themselves. They were not allowed to be themselves in the world because of the world they lived in. They were taken from their culture where they were being themselves, as far as we know, and then robbed and abducted by abusers who abused them generation after generation after generation. And now we finally, here in 2021, we are afforded an opportunity to do something different. And why wouldn't they want us to do that? Why wouldn't they want us to sleep and not work 40, 60, 80 hours a week? Why wouldn't they want that for us? Because they didn't get the chance to do that. Why wouldn't they want us to dress the way we want to dress, talk the way we want to talk, learn the things we want to learn, express the way we want to express? That is the real freedom. Why wouldn't they want that for us? They had to deal with oppression outside the home. And with love in their hearts, I'm assuming, as much love as they could come up with, given how they came up, they thought that they were doing their children a service by treating them the way that they will be treated outside the home. They thought they were doing their children a service by treating them poorly, in the home, so that they could be trained on how to exist outside the home. And I'm assuming they did that with love. If they didn't do it with love, they did it with survival at the front of their minds. There's some things we don't have to survive now. We have to survive a lot of things, but there's some things that we don't have to survive like they did. So we owe it to ourselves to spend this time healing ourselves from the traumas we grew up with, but also doing what we can. What we heal within ourselves, we heal for them as well. When I leave an abuser, when I've left an abuser and chosen not to have children, even though I want them really, really badly, I've healed something for my mother. I've healed something for my grandmother. I've healed something for my great-grandmother. I've healed something for them. I've broken a curse. When we choose to be emotionally mature, we're healing something for ourselves and for them. And the people around us are going to be resistant if they're not ready. And that is very hard to cope with. That is very hard to accept, because it's painful. It's painful to know that there's a possibility that you're going to do all the healing in the world, and you're going to do all this work. And if the other people that you want in your life, especially parents and family members, the other people, if you want them in your life, they may not make that choice. And that's not for you to internalize or take personally, or to feel as if you are a failure, because you're not. You're not a failure for them not choosing this path. And I'm talking to myself as well. Thank you. I'm talking to myself as well. It's very painful to know that the people that made you who you were, they may not join you on your journey. I would continue. However, we are about 56 minutes into the show, at least on Facebook. That's what the timer that I'm looking at. So it was after 8 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here. If you guys are just joining us, we are currently reading Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. The section that we just read is about forging a new relationship with your emotionally immature parent. And I just read about detached observation. So we're going to pick up tomorrow. Just so y'all know, I am currently, I'll just spend the last few minutes talking about this. I am currently trying to move. Yes. I am currently trying to move. Since May, I've had 2 break-ins. I've had to encounter police, and I've had 2 break-ins from people I knew. I've had violent interaction. I didn't get hurt, but intimidation and aggression was used towards me to try to get me to do something that I didn't want to do. Also yesterday, I saw the people that work in the leasing office entering the building. And I'm going to keep saying this because the police did nothing about it when I called them. But I saw the leasing manager and the leasing agent from the front office entering the building with a rifle and a bat. And they were going down to talk to one of the tenants downstairs. And thankfully that person wasn't home. I'm so thankful that person wasn't home, or they didn't answer the door, whatever it was. I don't know what their purpose was. I don't know what they were planning to do. I don't know if the person they were going to is known to be violent, and so they brought that for protection, or I don't know if they were going down there to be violent. I don't know the reason, but I don't feel safe. And I have a GoFundMe. The link is in the bio on Instagram and TikTok. I've posted the GoFundMe on my Facebook page as well. I was employed before the pandemic, and I was a travel agent, and then I was furloughed, and so I haven't been working. And now with me having 2 months up on my lease and likely going to move out of the state, it makes no sense for me to get employed just for me to be able to get like 3 checks and then have to move. So I'm doing my art. I'm presenting work for you guys to support. I have other ways of income. If you click through my pages, you'll find it. But any support that y'all can give me, if you can donate to my GoFundMe, that would be really helpful. If you know someone that can, or know someone that might be charitable, please send my page to them. Please send my GoFundMe to them. I am also something that I signed up for today. I signed up for Cerebral, which is an app that is specifically for mental health and connecting you with people that can help you with like getting medication and stuff like that. And I have ADHD, depression, anxiety, and I also struggle with insomnia. So given the fact that I don't feel safe, I'm sure a lot of that would calm down tone down if I felt safer in my home. But I have PTSD from my abusive relationships. And so this is this nice, beautiful concoction of just an unresting brain, just a constantly panicky, depressed, sad ass brain. So I am doing what I can. Like physically, I struggle with doing things because I'm constantly in panic mode. So if you guys could just help me out and share my GoFundMe on your pages, share my GoFundMe in text messages, emails, whatever, just and donate, I would really, really appreciate it. I thank you guys for being here. I'll see you all tomorrow around 7, and we will continue in chapter 8. Y'all have a good night. Bye.